Welcome to Youth Corner. I'm Ibrahim Rahman. This is the friendly chat show for the youth, a place to talk about what you do, recognise your achievements, share your experiences and inspiring stories, and discuss topics that are important to you. Now let's get down to business. Literally. My next guest is a budding entrepreneur, and in 2015 he was labelled Britain's youngest Indian restaurant and takeaway owner. He's come all the way from Royston in Hertfordshire to join us today. Let's give it up for Safwaan Choudhury. Welcome to Youth Corner, Safwaan.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me.
First handshake I've ever done on Youth Corner.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm
All
very
good?
well, thank you. How about you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's great to have you here today. So, let's talk about your background, first of all, because I like a good origin story. So, tell us about yourself, because I know you're a budding entrepreneur, as we just mentioned in the intro there.
So, I grew up in Royston in Hertfordshire. It's not too far from Cambridge. Very small town with very small Asian or Muslim minority. So, there were maybe two other families. So, I grew up in as a rare commodity with very little Asian surroundings. So, my origins is kind of going back to Bangladesh every year is where I got my kind of passion for our culture and for our people. As well as that, there's community in Cambridge, and obviously I have a lot of family in London. So that's where I'm from. Royston is my born and raised place, but Bangladesh is my origin.
Fantastic. So let's look at your education, because one area I really wanted to tap into was when you studied at the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy. So are we talking about the Peter Jones from Dragon's Den?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Peter Jones hosts his own Enterprise Academy. Colleges basically obtain a license from the original academy, and they take all the content from there, and they choose how they go about kind of running the course. I was very fortunate to be the last year in Cambridge to do that, and they had a very fantastic running of the program. The study was in a very professional environment in a place called the Future Business Centre, which is not too far from Cambridge Regional College campus. And basically the building is filled with the different startup businesses, and we had an office there where we studied. So a very professional environment with many lectures from different celebrity guests, and obviously we went to London very often.
Wow.
One memorable for lectures in the business studies, different parts of the business. Some were accounting, some were marketing, some were very, very interesting. We had one lecture, I believe, from West Ham United Football Club owner David Gold.
Wow, that's fantastic.
The partner of David Sullivan, and he was very. I was how close we are now. I was at the front of the audience, and actually spoke to him very personally because he goes to my uncle's restaurants in Bromley. Very, very interesting, and that year was fantastic. Unfortunately, because of government cuts in funding, colleges couldn't afford to. Not all of colleges could make enough funds separately to do to run that course. So unfortunately, in my side of the country, in England, in Cambridge, North Hertfordshire District College, Norwich College, a lot of them dropped out of this course because they could not run it. It was an alternative to business studies. The course was called Enterprise and Entrepreneurship, the practical way of doing business studies. It was the best year of my life.
That's fantastic. So clearly it must have been really inspirational for you getting to meet,
100%.
as you just mentioned, all those celebrities as well, all
Yeah.
those quite prominent figures.
Mm-hmm.
So brilliant stuff there. So did you actually get to meet Peter Jones himself?
So the year in study was many different things, like I said, lectures, and our coursework was based on making our own business plan and all the different things about making a business. And if you successfully pass the course, regardless of your grade, there's a graduation at the Freemason Hall in London, and that's where Peter Jones presents his with a certificate to yourself, almost like a university graduation. So that's where we met. Yeah, so I did meet him at the end of the year.
How is he actually as tall as he looks on the telly then?
The graduation, each academy sits in the hall, and one by one they're called up, and so lots of people going and coming. There's one audience of parents and obviously us, the students. So when my college came forward, everyone is going, and the parents aren't paying attention. A normal parent, they'll pay attention once their child comes up. But when I came up to the stage, I was so short in comparison to this guy, everyone actually laughed. The whole crowd was cheering and laughing, and there are many photos of me and him, the big height difference, and there are quite a lot of photos of me and him laughing together, so
wow.
he's very tall. But
He's about 6'7", 6'8", I think, isn't he?
well over 6 foot, and me being very short Bengali made a big difference. So in the photos, very big difference there.
I always wondered like how a selfie would look then if you're.
Yeah, impossible.
It can be hard to fit yourself in and maybe fit himself in.
Absolutely impossible.
Well, fantastic there, well done. But obviously now you've moved on to the University of Hertfordshire, you're studying marketing, and you're in your first year now, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm studying my degree in marketing at Herts, as you said, which is based in Hatfield.
Right.
I'm studying marketing there, which is a field of business that I've been very interested in since a young age, and so furthering my knowledge in how to go about advertising a business, how to go about, the how to access the market, how to access the consumers. It's very insightful degree.
So, what's involved in your course, and what do you expect to see in the coming years?
So the degree is formed of half business modules that you would get in other business courses, and others that are very focused on marketing. So principles of marketing, the very core essence of business, and how to go about the different sectors of marketing. So that's what the course has been about this year. I can't say what's going to happen in the next 2 years of my course, but my predictions is basically furthering my interest and knowledge in the marketing sector.
That's interesting. So, as well as doing your degree course as well, what else are you doing on the side of that?
So I started my course obviously in September, and simultaneously I started my own business in the Indian curry sector, which is I started my takeaway Royston Tandoori,
which we will come on to in just a moment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Other things I'm involved in is community work in the Bangladeshi curry industry. I say Bangladeshi, I say Indian. Actually, it's British curry industry. With our restaurants currently suffering quite a lot, staffing crisis, taxation, and whatnot. So
it certainly had a lot of mainstream
yes.
publicity there as well, with the curry crisis as well.
Yes,
It'd be interesting to hear your views on.
There's a hashtag curry crisis. That's it there. It's very tough at the moment. I'm fortunate to have a good team behind me, but as a nation we are suffering. So I spend a lot of time in community work there. Other interests I have is badminton and football. So I spend a lot of my time split between the life of a restaurateur and life of a student. So that's what I'm doing.
So just going back to this curry crisis that we're finding ourselves in at the moment, what kind of advice would you give to our younger viewers as well, who may also be interested in becoming restaurateurs? What have they got to do to try and help to avert this crisis? What kind of advice would you give to try and bring them in?
I think one solution. Sorry, I should introduce the problem. Actually, the problem we are facing right now is a shortage of skilled chefs, skilled workers. Every part of the restaurant industry is suffering, not just our cuisine, but other restaurants as well. So, if someone of my generation, the new third, fourth generation Bangladeshis, were to go into this industry, it's a prosperous one, and it's one where we are declining. Restaurants are closing, and people are saying, "Oh, if it's closing, business is bad." That's not the case. Demand is at highest it's ever been for British curry. It just depends how you. It's all about the marketing. I think as long as you have good food, good service, then you're very successful. But in order to get that, you need the right team, right chefs, and right front of house. So if someone of my generation was to go in, that would be fantastic. But you need the team. That's the main thing. Is you need a solid team. You need the spark and the passion. And as long as you have those things, you'll 100% get the customers in.
But do you think one of the problems that we're having at the moment is that with so many people coming to Britain as well, and with the opportunities that are on offer here, many might look beyond going into catering and learning and going on to different other courses where they can learn new skills, and obviously those opportunities are there, and that must be surely a big stumbling block.
100%. It's 100%. And I wouldn't dissuade anybody from going further, but there are big opportunities in our industry, not only running average everyday high street restaurant, but it is prosperous. The opportunity, it opens many avenues. Our industry is quite kind of everyone knows everyone industry, so there are many links to higher places. And it can take you very far. I'll give you one example: is the British Curry Awards, which happens every November, December time, hosted by NMLE MBE. It's a very glamorous event, and the best of the best are recognised there. So there's recognition, there is glamour, there are celebrities involved, Other avenues is, I'll give you one example from my personal experiences.
Sure.
At the House of Commons, every year there's a competition called the Tiffin Cup. It's a parliamentary curry contest of the best Indian restaurant or takeaway in the country. So each MP nominates the best restaurant in their constituency. Mystery shoppers will go in and check, and they'll judge who's the best in that region. And my MP, for the first time in his 22, 23 years of service, has actually nominated someone. He nominated us. So we're going to the House of Commons there, where our chef will compete with the kind of the best of the best in this industry. That's one thing that I don't know, not everybody can do. They go to the House of Commons, meet the top MPs, meet the Prime Minister, have a tour of the House. I'm really looking forward to that. It's in July.
Wow.
Obviously, I picked up on the British Curry Awards, and I went there first time last year with my cousins in Champagne Group, and it's a wonderful event there. There's just two examples of really big things that happen in our industry. So, although there are bigger things, and I'm also aspiring for bigger things as well, the same simultaneously.
Sure.
Our industry is something you can do alongside many other things. I know a lot of people who have day jobs in London, in the city, but they have their restaurants, or they work in a bank, but they have family restaurant, family business, and it's doable. And so I think whilst you can go for the bigger things, which I will, and a lot of my generation will, this is something I think not to neglect. It's an identity, and a lot of people refer to the British curry industry as the backbone of the Bangladeshi community. So I do urge the next generation not to abandon it, but not to kind of miss out on other opportunities because of this. Yeah,
absolutely. It's very interesting indeed. So let's move on to the media coverage that you had when you were labelled the youngest Indian restaurant and takeaway in the UK, because it was quite a hot topic at the time, especially during a National Curry Week, as it were. So tell us your feelings. How did you feel?
It's funny you say hot. It's funny you say hot topic, because obviously the spice industry.
Pun wasn't intended there, folks. I should tell you, but yeah.
So I went into business in the end of July after graduating from the academy. End of July, beginning of August, I kind of established myself in the town previously from working in different restaurants. And this is completely different from my scene. It's a small takeaway. But I went about in such a way that I needed to make sure I promote our business as much as possible so we can attract the trade.
Okay.
So I got in contact with my local newspaper, and they were more than happy to do an interview and an article about myself end of August, beginning of September. And in that interview, the woman asked me, are there people of kind of my age, of my generation in this industry? And, I must be very young and must be the youngest. She actually checked with quite a few associations and found out there are no other restaurateurs from the Bangladeshi industry of my age. So I was 18 at the time. And so she used that as an title. And it was something, not a statistic I looked at myself. I didn't think of it. I didn't really pay attention to it because I've been working quite a long time. So I kind of overlooked that. And in the title was youngest Indian restaurant owner. And a lot of different outlets picked up on that. The BBC Asian Network.
Wow.
Quite embarrassing, the Daily Star newspaper, as you know. So BBC Asian Network interviewed me there at the takeaway, and during National Curry Week, that's quite a lot of coverage happened there. National Curry Week is the week that's kind of devoted to promotion of the issues that we face in the curry industry, as well as Britain's love for British curry. So
sure.
it was.
So after all the publicity happened and everything, so how much did that affect your business and you going forward?
It's brilliant. It was a very brilliant effect, and I think one thing is it gave us a step and a platform to match up to. So we have to live up to the expectation. It was really good, and the coverage and exposure. I can't walk to Tesco anymore and do my normal shop without people recognising me. So that was it's nice. It's nice to be in the spotlight, but at the same time,
certainly getting that recognition there, which is really good. Which is obviously what you want. You want people to recognise the face. Don't
exactly,
you?
yeah. But there's the one thing you don't want is to let it get to your head. That's what was. It was a big challenge is to not get very. I don't know how to say it. Get quite airheaded or get quite.
And keep your feet on the ground.
Yes, keep your feet on the ground, and I wanted to stay humble, stay to my roots, and just continue as normal. So that's what we did, and alhamdulillah, we're doing really good, enjoying it at the same time.
Fantastic. Now, we just want to quickly move on here. So let's talk about your decision to sponsor a football team. You're a local football team that is Royston Town Ladies Football Club.
Mhm.
So you got Royston Tandoori to sponsor them. So tell us very briefly your decision to why you wanted to get into that.
So there were two different big reasons for getting involved with Royston Town Football Club. The first being is Royston Town Football Club is quite. It's like the spine of my local community. It's a very big club, and very different walks of life are involved in it. From the youth team, which starts from under 5, there are many football mums. So those soccer mums and dads that are involved with that. Lots of kids involved, all the way up to under 18s, which is my age, and my peers are involved there.
Sure.
The youth team, the A team, reserve team, and the first team is very popular in our town. And one thing that is quite overlooked is the ladies' first team. And our ladies' team is a very successful team. They've been running for quite a long time. One of the longest serving ladies' team in the country is, I think, well over 20 years they've been established.
Okay.
And they've been very successful in the last couple of years. And I noticed them from a long time ago as one of my peers actually is the captain of their team. Her name is Amy Cooper. We went to school together. So I've noticed them from a long time. And so that's one reason why I got involved. Royston Town Football Club is a very big part of our town. So getting involved in that is access to a big part of our town. And if we support one part of it, then we're not just supporting that, we're supporting the whole club. And so a lot of people, we've got a lot of love in return. But it's choosing the right team. And I chose the ladies' team. The second reason why we chose the ladies' team is because women's football is on the rise. Last year, I'm not sure about this year, but last year's FA Women's Cup final was the biggest turnout ever in its history. I'm not sure, it's in the region of 17,000 people went to see that match. I don't know if you also watched the Women's World Cup last year.
That had a lot of
I paid
interest.
more attention to Women's World Cup last year than I paid to the Men's World Cup, a couple of years back. And
Sure.
It was very interesting to watch. The US team is very good. And I really thought that's something we need to promote, something we need to support. And so the club president was more than happy for me to get involved with them. And the third and final reason why I kind of got involved in that sense was there are a lot of takeaway business, a lot of restaurant business, especially in our community, where they simply open from 5 to 11, and there's no activity outside of those hours. Just open your restaurant, close your restaurant, which is no good.
Sort of community cohesion.
There's no
that goes
community
on.
cohesion, there's no promotion, there's no support. And a lot of people look at it as, oh, I'm not going to spend money on sponsorship, there's too much, I haven't got money to spend on promotion. But that money spent is money returned. Customers and different communities. So I looked at it as not many others are doing it. Let me do it and see how it goes. And it was best. But one of the second best decision I made was doing that. And this month, the ladies team won their league. So we did a celebration last week. And so I'm really happy with that. They're a really good team.
Brilliant, and also got a lot of publicity as well, being
Yes,
able to sponsor a team that has just become champions.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Well done there.
So we're doing good.
Brilliant. So we are coming to the final stage of the show, which is about giving advice to the youth.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, focusing on what you've been doing, working as a restaurateur, working in the catering industry, what kind of advice would you give to our younger viewers who may also be interested in getting into this field?
My first piece of advice would be, it's a broad piece of advice, not just for people following my footsteps in the curry industry or restaurant industry, is to follow one's ambition, to follow one's passion, and as long as it's feasible, then go ahead, 100% go ahead and explore the world, gain experience, and whatever field it may be, always kind of plan in advance, and the world's your oyster. So in respect to the restaurant industry, is innovate. There's no limit to innovation. Our forefathers, when they came to this country in the 50s and 60s, nobody ever thought this concoction called the chicken tikka masala would ever kick off the way it did. We sell tons and tons of it, about 20 tons a week of just chicken tikka masala go out to our country. It's the favourite of the country, and that's one thing. One thing the British Bangladeshis have done is leave their stamp, on history, because I know in the future, maybe in a century's time, that they will look back and no one has ever left their mark on the British society like us. There's a curry house in every kind of town or city. Every single person, it doesn't matter if they like curry or not, they know about us, as a community. So take advantage of that, and you don't be the run of the mill, because the successful ones, they're the ones who innovate throughout the ages. Who at the beginning, they innovated. they came to this country maybe not knowing English, not knowing business, but they opened and they are the forefathers. You know, your family, my family, everyone's there's someone is related to someone. The way that's how it started. It doesn't matter if no one is involved now. So innovation throughout the ages has proved success, and you know the people who are innovating now in an industry that's struggling because of staffing crisis and you know taxation crisis and crisis, a big word that's used a lot. They're still successful because of innovation, and that's what that's what I learned at university. Innovation is what will take any business to success.
Definitely, a lot of hard work as well.
Exactly.
A lot of graft, that's also involved.
Passion is a big thing, you know.
That's what drives you forward.
Exactly, you know, loving what you do every day in day out, it will solidify, kind of make your goals and ambitions reality because you're working for something you want to be working for, not just because someone else tells you, or not because it's just something to do. Like, absolutely. Don't go for it if it's not passion, because it's a lot of hours and a lot of stress, and it's not for everyone. So I wouldn't say, oh, everyone come to the restaurant industry, you'll be successful, because not everyone will be, and not everyone has been successful. So gain the experience, see it. If it's for you, 100% go forward, because I started last year in a humble takeaway, and I didn't expect to go to BBC Asian Network, go to the BBC House, or go to the Daily Star paper, or all the different things I've done this year. Started off with the Peter Jones. It was the inspiration of not the word impossible is not existence. It's literally go for as far as you want to, because at the end of the day, this life is very temporary. So just leave your mark on history.
And on that note, we've come to the end of the show. So many thanks to Safwaan Choudhury for joining me at the Youth Corner today. It's been a real pleasure having you. So
thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you.
And of course, many thanks to all of you watching as well. If you'd like to be a guest at the Youth Corner, do get in touch. The email address is youthcorner@lb24.tv. And also, we've got a brand new Facebook page. Like and visit www.facebook.com/Youth Corner Show. Until next time, I've been Ibrahim Rahman. It's goodbye for now.